I was 27 when life finally felt stable for the first time in years. I had a decent job in IT support, a predictable routine, and an apartment that actually felt like home. But the best part of my life back then was my girlfriend, Emily. We had been together less than a year, yet everything between us felt natural and balanced. No drama, no shouting, no weird secrets. Just two adults who genuinely liked being around each other. We met at a friend's birthday party. Wasn't even supposed to be a long night for me, but one stupid joke I made her laugh, and somehow we ended up talking the entire evening. 3 months later, we were practically glued to each other. 6 months later, we were moving in together, and honestly, it didn't feel like a big leap, more like something that was always meant to happen. Life with her was easy. We drank coffee together every morning. We cooked dinner side by side, even if it was just pasta. We fell asleep on the couch more times than I can count. It wasn't some movie romance. It was comfortable, peaceful, real. And then one evening, everything shifted with a single message. Emily's phone buzzed, and she got that tense look on her face. It was her younger sister, Lisa. 24, emotional, impulsive, constantly jumping from one mess to another. Emily had mentioned that Lisa and her boyfriend were having problems again, but I didn't think much of it. Young couples fight. Nothing new. But now Lisa was crying in a voice message, saying her boyfriend kicked her out, she had nowhere to go, and she needed just a few days to figure things out. Emily looked at me like she was asking permission without using the words. She just needs a place to stay for a bit, she said. We can't leave her out on the street, right? What was I supposed to say? No? Of course I wasn't that kind of guy. So I told her, yeah, it's fine. A couple of days won't hurt. But I had no idea that those couple of days were about to turn into a slow, uncomfortable unraveling of our quiet life. Lisa arrived that same night. Suitcase, bags, red eyes from crying, and a storm of drama trailing behind her. She spent almost an hour complaining about her ex, calling him immature, manipulative, selfish. Emily sat next to her, comforting her, stroking her back. I stayed polite and calm, even though something in Lisa's tone already bothered me. She talked like she was always right, like nothing was ever her fault. I shrugged it off. Stress, I thought. She just needs time. The first 2 days were fine. Lisa mostly stayed in the guest room, scrolled on her phone, helped with dishes once or twice. I honestly thought the situation would end quietly. But on the third day, when I came home from work, something felt off the moment I walked through the door. Emily seemed distant. Not angry. Not sad. Just slightly shut down, like she was holding something in. Meanwhile, Lisa sat on the couch scrolling her phone with a little smirk she didn't even bother hiding. When our eyes met, she gave me this quick, almost satisfied look, like she knew something I didn't. I brushed it off. Maybe I was imagining it, but I wasn't. Because from that day forward, the energy in the apartment changed. Not suddenly, slowly, quietly, drop by drop. Lisa started planting little comments into conversations with Emily. Subtle ones that weren't direct attacks, but left an uncomfortable echo. Does Stephen always talk like that? You seem tired. Does he help enough around the house? Are you sure you're happy, Em? Always said with a soft voice, always with a concerned face, always in a way that made Emily question herself for just a second. And those seconds built up. Emily didn't turn against me, not at all. But she became more thoughtful, more hesitant, more defensive over small things. I could feel her watching me closer, questioning things she never questioned before. Meanwhile, Lisa kept observing us like she was taking notes. And by the time I understood what was happening, the damage had already begun. The real shift happened about a week after Lisa moved in. By that point, I could feel the tension in the apartment, even when nobody was talking. It was like an invisible weight pressing on the room, something you couldn't point to directly, but felt every time you walked in. Emily kept assuring me everything was fine, but her tone wasn't the same. And Lisa seemed to enjoy the new atmosphere a little too much. I started catching her watching me, not in a flirtatious way, more like she was studying me, waiting for something to happen. She would sit on the couch with her arms crossed, pretending to scroll through her phone. But every time I spoke to Emily, her eyes flicked up, observing, listening, evaluating. It made my skin crawl. Still, I tried to be patient. I told myself she was going through a breakup, vulnerable, emotional, and probably projecting her frustration onto everyone around her. But that excuse started to fall apart the day she made her first real mistake. I had just come home from work, and Emily and Lisa were in the kitchen. They didn't hear me come in right away, and I caught part of their conversation. Lisa's voice was low, sympathetic, comforting in a fake kind of way. "I'm just saying, Em, maybe you should think about whether you're settling. You're young. You don't want to look back in 10 years and feel trapped." My stomach tightened. Emily answered softly, like she'd been thinking about this before. "I'm not trapped, Lisa. I love him. We're good together." Lisa didn't stop. I know. But love doesn't mean you can't aim higher. You deserve someone who pushes you. Someone exciting." I stepped into the kitchen. "Someone exciting like your ex?" I asked. The air froze. Lisa's eyes snapped to me with this sharp flash of annoyance, but she shifted into an innocent expression instantly. "Oh, Stephen, I didn't hear you. We were just talking." "Yeah," I said. I heard enough. Emily looked uncomfortable, and that bothered me more than anything. I wasn't angry at her, but seeing her caught between us, unsure how to react, hurt more than I expected. Lisa took advantage of that moment like she had rehearsed it. "We were just having a girl talk," she said sweetly. "I wasn't saying anything bad about you. Emily just deserves to feel supported." Emily touched my arm. It wasn't what it sounded like. She's just emotional right now. Maybe so. But the damage was done. I could see the seed Lisa was trying to plant. And what pissed me off the most was that she did it without hesitation, without any guilt. Like my relationship was her playground. Over the next few days, her comments became more strategic, little jabs disguised as concern. "Do you notice how he zones out when you talk? Maybe he's overwhelmed. He works late a lot. Are you sure he's not avoiding something? You know, guys sometimes get too comfortable. You should make sure he doesn't take you for granted." Every sentence was like a slow drip of poison. Emily didn't change drastically, but she became more cautious around me, watching my reactions, asking small questions she never asked before, hesitating in moments where she used to be open. I hated it. I hated what Lisa was doing to us. But the moment everything tipped over happened on a Saturday. Lisa came into the living room wearing makeup, dressed up more than usual. Emily was getting ready too. "What's going on?" I asked. "Oh," Emily said, grabbing her purse. "Lisa wants me to go with her to a girls' night, just to cheer her up." "A girls' night?" I repeated. Lisa smiled. "Don't worry, Stephen. We won't be late. It's just a harmless gathering." Something felt off, but Emily clearly wanted to support her sister, and I didn't want to be the controlling boyfriend. So I kissed her goodbye and told her to have fun. At first, I didn't think much of it. I played some games, cleaned up a bit, and waited. But around midnight, Emily texted me. "I'm coming home. I'll explain everything when I'm there." That didn't sound good. When she walked in, I could tell she was upset, not angry, not crying, just disappointed. "What happened?" I asked. She sighed. It wasn't a girls' night. There were guys there. My jaw clenched. And Lisa took you there without telling you. Yeah, she said. She started flirting with some guy. And then she kept nudging me, saying I should loosen up, have fun, enjoy myself. I told her I wasn't interested, but she pushed it. I got uncomfortable and left. I stared at her, speechless for a moment. And she stayed? I asked. Emily nodded. She didn't even walk me out. That was the moment something inside me shut off. A line was crossed. This wasn't emotional instability or heartbreak anymore. This was disrespect, manipulation, sabotage. Emily sat on the couch and leaned into me. I'm sorry. I should have listened to my gut. I don't know what's gotten into her. I knew exactly what. She didn't want to be alone in her chaos. She wanted company at the bottom, and she was trying to drag Emily down there with her. That night, Emily and I made a decision, not in anger, but calmly, logically. Lisa had to leave. The morning after Emily told me what happened at that so-called girls' night, the atmosphere in our apartment felt different, not tense, decisive. For the first time in weeks, Emily and I were aligned. No hesitation, no excuses for her sister, no attempts to justify Lisa's behavior. We both knew what had to happen, but that didn't make the conversation easier. Lisa woke up late, as usual, strolling into the kitchen like she hadn't done anything wrong. She grabbed a coffee mug, humming to herself, completely unbothered. If anything, she seemed proud of whatever chaos she had stirred the night before. Emily looked at me for a moment, not for permission, but for strength. And then she spoke. Lisa, we need to talk. Lisa froze, mug halfway to her lips, eyes narrowing just slightly. Not scared, not confused, defensive. About what? She asked, though she clearly already knew. I stayed silent, letting Emily lead. It was her sister, her relationship, her boundary to set. Emily took a slow breath. Last night wasn't okay. You told me it was a girls' night. You took me to a place where there were guys, and then you tried to push me to flirt with one of them. Lisa rolled her eyes instantly. Oh my God, Em, you're overreacting. It wasn't a big deal. It was a big deal, Emily said firmly. You didn't respect me, or my relationship, or the fact that I didn't want to be there. Lisa crossed her arms. I was just trying to help you loosen up. You've gotten boring since moving in with Stephen. That line hit the room like a slap. Emily's face tightened with anger I rarely saw in her, and I felt my own jaw clench, but Emily stayed composed. You crossed a line, and it wasn't the only one. Lisa opened her mouth, but Emily continued before she could speak. You've been making comments about Stephen. You've been trying to put doubts in my head. You've been acting like our relationship is something you have the right to interfere with. Lisa scoffed loudly. Oh, please. I was just being honest with you. You deserve more excitement than this predictable life. That one was aimed at me, no doubt intended to provoke. I didn't give her the satisfaction. Emily stepped closer, voice steady. This isn't about excitement. This is about respect, and you haven't shown any. Lisa's expression shifted, less arrogant now, more calculating. She looked at me briefly, then back at Emily. So what? You're kicking me out? Emily swallowed. We think it's best if you find another place. Not today, but soon. Lisa slammed her mug down so hard coffee splashed onto the counter. Unbelievable! After everything I've been through, you're abandoning me too? Emily stayed calm, though I could see how hard she was fighting to keep her voice level. I'm not abandoning you. I'm setting boundaries. You staying here is hurting us, and you don't seem to care. Lisa looked at me then, directly, sharply, with resentment burning behind her eyes. This is because of him, she hissed. He's manipulating you. I finally spoke. Lisa, I haven't manipulated anyone. You're projecting your own behavior onto me because it makes you feel better." Her face twisted with anger. For the first time, she didn't try to hide it. "You think you're so stable, so reliable. Emily deserves someone more exciting than you." "But she doesn't want exciting," I said calmly. "She wants honest, and safe, and respected. None of which you've given her since you walked in this door." Lisa's jaw clenched. For a moment, I thought she would throw something, but instead she turned her glare back to Emily. "So that's it? You're choosing him over your own sister?" Emily answered without hesitation. "I'm choosing my life, and I'm choosing peace." The argument dragged on for another 15 minutes. Lisa accusing, Emily holding firm, me staying quiet unless necessary. Eventually, Lisa stormed off to her room and slammed the door so hard the walls shook. I heard her shoving things into bags, muttering curses under her breath, stomping around as if we had personally betrayed her in the cruelest way possible. Emily sat on the couch, shoulders tense, eyes tired. I sat beside her and pulled her close. "Are you okay?" I asked. She nodded against my shoulder. "Yeah, I hate that it had to come to this, but I'm not letting her ruin what we have." And hearing that, feeling her choose us, choose our home, choose me, something in my chest eased for the first time in weeks. The doubt Lisa had tried to plant evaporated. Emily was clear, determined, present. A few minutes later, Lisa emerged from the hallway with 2 large bags in her coat. She didn't look at me. She didn't look at Emily. She just moved toward the door like someone escaping a burning building she had set on fire herself. Just before she left, Emily said quietly, "I still love you, Lisa. You're my sister. But I won't let you drag me down with you." Lisa hesitated only a second before spitting out, "You'll regret this." Then she left, slamming the door behind her. The silence that followed felt like fresh air after weeks of choking smoke. Emily let out a long breath. "It's going to take her a long time to forgive me." I shook my head gently. "She'll forgive you when she's ready to grow up, and not before." Emily looked at me, really looked at me, and for the first time in weeks, her expression was soft, open, free of doubt. "I'm sorry I didn't see what she was doing earlier," she said. "You saw it when it mattered," I told her. "That's what counts." And for the first time since Lisa arrived, our apartment felt like home again. The night Lisa moved out, Emily and I didn't celebrate or high-five each other. There was no victory dance, no triumphant speeches. Instead, we just sat together in the quiet living room, letting the stillness settle back into the apartment. It felt like the place itself was finally exhaling after weeks of holding its breath. Emily leaned into me, her head on my shoulder, and whispered, "I'm sorry it got so bad." "You don't have to apologize," I told her. "Family does complicated things. You handled it better than most people would." But the truth was, I could see the guilt in her eyes, not because she thought she had chosen wrong, but because choosing peace meant choosing distance from someone she cared about. That's never easy, even when it's necessary. Over the next few days, the difference in our home was unbelievable. The tension that had been woven into the walls simply evaporated. We woke up lighter. We talked more. We laughed without forcing it. We cooked dinner without someone lurking around listening to every word. Even the silence sounded different, peaceful instead of hostile. It was like our relationship was stretching out after being cramped in a corner for too long. One night, a few days after Lisa left, Emily finally opened up fully. We were sitting on the balcony, wrapped in blankets, watching the city lights. "I need to tell you something," she said quietly. "Just to get it off my chest." I put my arm around her. "Go on." When she first moved in, she started getting into my head sooner than I admitted. I kept telling myself she was just hurt, emotional, confused. But she made me question things that I never questioned before. Tiny things about you, about us. She looked away, embarrassed. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to hurt you, but I also didn't want to admit she had that kind of influence over me. I squeezed her hand gently. It's okay. You saw it for what it was eventually. Everyone gets clouded when someone they love is hurting. She nodded slowly. I know, but I want you to know something important. I never doubted us. Not truly. I just let her noise get too loud. That meant more to me than I expected, not because I needed reassurance, but because hearing her say it out loud felt like closure for both of us. And, she added with a small smile, the reason I left that party wasn't just because it felt wrong. I left because the moment she tried to push that guy toward me, I realized exactly how dangerous she could be to what we have. Dangerous? I repeated softly. She nodded. Yeah, because she doesn't want stability. She doesn't want healthy relationships. She wants other people to live in the same chaos she does. Misery loves company, I guess. She wasn't wrong. Over the next week, Lisa sent a few messages. Dramatic ones, emotional ones, even a passive-aggressive, hope you're happy text. But Emily didn't engage. Not meanly, just with boundaries. Clear, firm boundaries. Something she had never set with Lisa before. And honestly, I was proud of her. 8 days after Lisa left, life in our apartment felt completely normal again. Morning coffee tasted better. The jokes we made landed again. Emily hugged me longer, kissed me deeper, looked at me without that shadow of doubt in her eyes. One evening, while we were making dinner, she turned to me out of nowhere and said, I want us to move forward. Really move forward. Build something long-term. I looked at her, surprised, in a good way. We already are, aren't we? She laughed softly. Yeah, but I mean, more intentionally, talking about the future, planning it, together. I realized, in that moment, that the whole ordeal with Lisa hadn't just shaken us, it had strengthened us. We had chosen each other, twice. Once silently, by staying patient, and once loudly, by standing up for our peace. Emily wiped her hands on a towel and stepped closer to me. That night I came home from that awful party, she said. I kept thinking about one thing, how relieved I was to be coming home to you. Not because you're predictable or safe or whatever she called you, but because you're steady, you're kind, and you don't make my world spin out of control. I couldn't help but smile. I'll take that as a compliment. It is, she said, kissing me. A big one. For the first time in weeks, everything felt exactly as it should. Lisa's absence wasn't a loss. It was a reset. A reset that put us back on track. A reset that made our home ours again. A reset that showed both of us what mattered most. And as we sat on the couch later that night, wrapped up in each other, talking about vacations, future plans, maybe even moving to a bigger place someday, I realized something important. Sometimes the storm that enters your life isn't there to destroy you. Sometimes it's there to show you what's worth protecting. And Emily? She was worth all of it. If you're enjoying this story, consider subscribing and leaving a like. It really helps the channel grow.